Welcome back. For most Americans, midnight tonight is the deadline to file your federal taxes. It's a tradition that goes back more than 100 years with the enactment of the 16th Amendment back in 1913. Now, before that, the only individual income tax that existed in the U.S. was actually put in place in 1861 to help ease the financial burden of the Civil War. It started with a flat tax, 3% tax on all incomes over $800. That's the equivalent of around $25,000 today. But that was later modified to include a graduated tax. It was wildly unpopular, as you can imagine, and the federal government didn't even really have the infrastructure to enforce and collect those payments. So Congress repealed the tax in 1872. But the concept didn't disappear. Following a series of legal battles, including multiple Supreme Court decisions, a permanent tax policy was implemented in 1913, with individuals given until March 1st to file. But like most things related to government taxation, there were so many exemptions, deductions, and loopholes that less than 1% of the population ended up having to pay anything. And for those folks that did pay, that barely amounted to 1% of their income. And that brings us to our question of the day. In what year did April 15th become the official tax day? The answer, 1955. The March 1st deadline did work for a while since so few people in the U.S. met the threshold to file. But as the tax law expanded to more people and became more complex, Congress realized people needed more time to complete their returns. The deadline was pushed back to March 15th in 1919, but Congress had to revisit the issue once again in 1954 for similar reasons. This time, they completely overhauled the Internal Revenue Code and starting in 1955, gave individuals until April 15th to file. Now, the primary goal was to increase the filing rate, and it worked. According to the IRS, about 90% of taxpayers are able to file their returns on time. Through April 6th of this year, the IRS has already processed more than 100 million returns, and millions more will be sent today. But if you're fortunate enough to live in Maine or Massachusetts, guess what? You get 2 extra days to file until April 17th because of a weird quirk. Patriots' Day is a holiday in both of those states on April 15th, and you combine that with a separate holiday on April 16th, Emancipation Day in the District of Columbia, which effectively shuts down the federal government, and that's how you get those 2 extra days. And for those of you out there who do need an extension, you're not alone. The IRS estimates at least 19 million of you are going to request an automatic extension by the end of tonight.